We're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you and welcome to today's webinar, Beyond Crowdtangle, Harnessing the Potential of Search and Listen. We are excited to welcome so many folks to our webinar today. We've had a huge amount of interest and we look forward to walking you through all our Search and Listen tool has to offer. If you have questions as we go through today, please drop those into the questions box and time permitting, we will answer those at the end. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah Lloyd, the head of product success and evangelism here at Social News Desk. I just recently celebrated 10 years with Team S&D, and I love having the opportunity to get to share more about our products. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn for future updates on webinars and more product info on S&D. And before we jump into Search and Listen, please take a few moments to scan the QR code on the screen or grab a screenshot of this slide for later. We are conducting our annual user survey, which helps us understand how you're using Social News Desk today and how we can make it even better for you in the future. Your responses are so valuable to us, so please take a few minutes to share your thoughts with us. We really, really appreciate it. I will pop this slide back up at the end in case you don't have time to scan the QR code right now. So, what is happening to Crowdtangle? Well, Meta announced in March of this year that Crowdtangle, its public insights tool for publishers, journalists, and researchers, will no longer be available after August 14th of this year. According to Meta, technology and regulatory changes related to privacy are behind the change. Meta will continue to support their content library and content library API, which provides data to researchers. Search and Listen is Social News Desk's set of social listening tools. With Search and Listen, you can monitor internal and external Facebook pages, keyword searches on X, any public Instagram account, and in an added bonus, both agencies and neighbors in every neighborhood in the US on Nextdoor. Best of all, it's already available to every Social News Desk user. I'll take you through how to set up your Search and Listen columns a little bit later on, but first let's take a look at what tools are available. And we'll start right at the top with our Search and Listen tools for Facebook. First is Publishers by DMA. You can search for any Nielsen designated market area in the US and follow the Facebook pages for all news publishers in that market or just the ones that you're interested in. You can sort your column by engagement to see what content people are responding to the most, or sort by most recent content to keep track of the latest news in that market. Next, our First Responders database aggregates the Facebook pages for police and fire departments in every state in the country. You can search for specific agencies that you'd like to keep track of, or follow every page in the state. As with our Publishers by DMA tool, you can sort by engagement or by the most recent content at the top. For other important Facebook pages you'd like to monitor, such as other public agencies in your community, you can use the Facebook Page Search tool. Build a column with one or more pages to keep track of what's being published. Again, these columns can also be sorted by engagement or by most recent content first. And finally, you can use our Group Lists tool to keep track of all of your owned Facebook pages. If your organization manages many pages, you can quickly see at a glance which content is performing best by engagement or by click-throughs. For large news groups, this can also help to identify content that's overperforming in one market and may play well in other markets. If you'd like help getting started with the Group List feature if you're not using it already, get in touch with your client success manager, or you can email our whole team at support@socialnewsdesk.com and we can help you get set up. Now let's shift to X. While X has made tons of changes to their API recently, at this time we're still able to offer keyword searches in Search and Listen. You can use the advanced search options to build a more customized search that cuts out some of the noise and gets you the precise search results that you're looking for. You can also search for Twitter lists in Search and Listen, or search the list direct URL to monitor groups of accounts. For Instagram, you can search any public Instagram business or creator account by username, as long as it's a public account, in order to monitor content from that account. S&D also has Nextdoor integrated with our Search and Listen tool. Our Nextdoor integration allows you to see what neighbors are saying in any municipality, whether you live there or not. With Nextdoor Search, you can get down to the neighborhood insights to search through what neighbors are posting anywhere in the country. You can search for the location or drop a pin on the map and take the radius from 1 mile to 100 miles. Add a keyword to focus on a particular topic within a local area. If you want to see what nearby agencies are talking about, you can use the agency feed to see all agencies within a state or select the agencies that matter most to you. This is a great way to keep tabs on your partners in the wider community, especially since a lot of agencies have started taking a step back from X due to recent policy changes. The Nextdoor state feed allows you to monitor all agencies in your state, so you're always in the know about what's happening statewide. So now let's take a look live at my dashboard to walk through the different feeds and how to set those up. So stand by one moment while I switch to a different screen. All right, hopefully you guys can see that okay. So you can see I have a number of different columns set up on my dashboard already. Search and Listen is going to be housed under the Add to Dashboard button using the Search and Listen tool. So when you open this up, you're going to see all of the tools that we talked about today, all of your Facebook tools at the top, Twitter next, Instagram, and Nextdoor. So we're going to go through these one by one. I'm going to click on Publishers by DMA, and you'll see a search bar here that allows you to search through any of the 210 Nielsen designated market areas. You can see here on the right, I have San Antonio set up where I live, and I have this sorted by engagement over the last 12 hours. So this is a really great way to see what's happening really now in your community and see what's popping with the folks that are in your community or in a different market. And of course, you can also sort this by latest content first, which is going to be a great way to see the most recent content right at the top. And of course, we have a post here that went out just about a minute or two ago. The next tool we're going to look at is the First Responders tool. You can simply enter the state. So in this case, I'm going to enter Texas. And then you can hit launch search if you want to follow all of the pages in that list, or you can search for particular ones. So in this particular column, I have posts from the San Antonio Police and Fire Department. I have latest content up at the top, so I can scroll through and see the most recent content. Or again, I can sort this by engagement, and I can take this back as far as 30 days. All right. Our next tool is going to be the page search tool. So for any page that's not in Publishers by DMA or First Responders, you can actually build a column by searching by page name. So it's going to first list your own pages. So you can also build a column of your own accounts here in the dashboard, but I can do a search and find a particular page here in Facebook's database. And of course, there are a lot of pages, so so we can do a search and find the page that we're looking for. In this case, I have a couple of pages from City of San Antonio, the municipal government page and solid waste management pages, which is going to let me monitor what those pages are talking about throughout the day. And then finally, we have our group list tool. So every group is going to have a different list of group lists because these are particular to your own group. And like I said, your client success manager can help you set these up if you don't have them set up already. I have a list that has 315 Facebook pages from one of my groups. In this case, I have my San Antonio top content, which has all of the pages from just the San Antonio market that I want to look at. I have a group of station main pages and then a group of top pages from another station here from within the group. So you can monitor pages across your entire organization. Anything that is onboarded to Social News Desk can appear in a group list. And again, these can be sorted by click-through or by engagement. And these are going to just be posts that are performing better than average. So in this case, I'm only pulling in posts that are doing 4 times the amount of their normal click-through or better. And I'm looking at the past 4 days. I can take this back as far as a year. But if you want to see, what's really overperforming recently, you can take this down as little as an hour. So really powerful tool to see what people are clicking on, what people are engaging with, depending on the KPIs that are most important to you. All right, for X, I'll move to this next tab, and I will mention for each of these tabs, If you have a tab set up with a group of search and listen accounts, you can actually share this tab with any other user by clicking on that three-dot menu and selecting share, and then selecting from the users that you want to share this tab with. And they'll get a copy of that tab. They can edit it down from there, make some additional changes, add more columns, move them around. The copy becomes theirs. So any changes you make are not going to reflect on their dashboard. But this is helpful if you're building out a great set of searches and want to share it with someone else in your newsroom. So for X, as I mentioned, you can search by keyword. So very simple keyword search if you want, or you can use the advanced search to filter in or out particular search operators in order to find specific pieces of content. So in my case, I'm searching for content about the San Antonio Spurs that involves the word basketball or San Antonio or a couple of other search terms because I don't want content about Tottenham Hotspur, which is a soccer team in England that some people are into, but that's not really one of my particular interests. So I'm using that advanced search tool to filter content in and out and allow me to find the content that is most interesting to me. And then for Twitter lists, you can do a simple search for Twitter lists that are public on Twitter, or you can enter a public list URL. So if you have created a Twitter list associated with your Twitter account, as long as it's public, you can enter that URL, click launch search, and then you will have a list. So in this case, I have a list of all of my NBA teams, so I can keep track of what everyone is tweeting out across the league. All right, next we're going to look at Instagram, search and listen. Instagram is fairly straightforward. It's going to be a simple search for the page name. So again, you'll have your owned pages in here first, or you can search for public pages. So you can see I have a local news station here that I can see all the content coming in from that particular station. And I have one of my local sports teams, of course, the San Antonio Spurs, so I can keep track of what they're publishing on Instagram as well. And I will mention for any of these search and listen columns, including Nextdoor, which we'll get to in a minute, you can add any of this content to S&D on air. So if you are using on air for social display, you can find content using search and listen and then pull it in to display during a newscast, which is really, really helpful. All right, so for Nextdoor search and listen, I'm going to click on that and remove this column here. So I have 4 different tools for Nextdoor. We have the agency feed, which allows me to pull up any agency within a state. So here I have, actually it is this one, is my agency feed. I just have selected agency pages because if I search for the state of Texas, of course, that is going to be a lot of agencies. This includes police departments, fire departments, energy providers, water systems, all kinds of agencies that have, anybody that has an agency page within that state will appear here. And I can follow every single agency within that state if I want, or I can just pick and choose. So in my case, I have searched for San Antonio and just pulled some of the San Antonio agencies into my agency feed column. And again, with any of these Nextdoor columns, you can sort this by latest content, or you can sort by likes, which is going to show you what content people are the most interested in. And you can also take this down as little as an hour or as far back as 36 months. I have mine set kind of in the middle at 30 days, so I can get a good sampling of posts, but I can see, again, what people are interested in. And we've had a lot of customers who have used Nextdoor Search and Listen to find news stories, story ideas, either from agencies or from neighbors. So this, again, is a really, really helpful news gathering tool, especially as agencies start to move away from X. And you can also, again, add this content to S&D on air. All right, our next tool is going to be our city feed. This is simply going to be the state. So again, I can search for my state. And of course, it's just like live TV. Sometimes stuff is going to happen. So I've searched for my state here and actually the city feed. And I have the city of San Antonio. And this is going to include any neighbor posts as well as any agency posts. So by latest content, you can see here 20 hours ago, this piece of content was published to 39 neighborhoods. You can see the neighborhood that that neighbor belongs to. And of course, for privacy reasons, we don't display the neighbor's name inside the dashboard. If you live in that community, you can actually click on the timestamp and go to that post directly on Nextdoor. So if you want to engage with that post on your personal account, you are able to do that. But this, again, is really helpful to just be able to see all of the content from a particular city within that city's limits. Now, if you are looking for all the content in a state, you can use the Nextdoor state feed. Again, you'll just do a simple search for the state, and then you can, of course, sort by likes or by time, by the latest content here. And this is going to include agency posts that are statewide, so not just individual municipality pages, but also statewide pages. As well as content from neighbors also. But this is a really handy tool to keep tabs on what's going at a state level. I know here in Texas with Hurricane Beryl coming through last weekend, we had a ton of posts from state agencies, and you can still see some of those popping up here in my search. And then last but not least is the keyword search. So this is really handy if you are searching outside of just a single municipality. So here in San Antonio, where I live, obviously there are a lot of suburbs. So if I want to capture all of those suburbs, not just what's within the San Antonio city limits, I can take that radius out up to 100 miles. I might take this down a little bit. And then you can search by keyword. One hack that I like to do is actually just pop a space in there to get all of the content within a radius. Or you can search for a particular keyword. And you can see my keyword search that I have open here on the dashboard. I have a 30-mile radius around the city of Houston with the word power. So anybody who's talking about having power, not having power, power being restored. So if you're looking for people who are still without power after however many days it's been since Beryl went through and knocked out power to a large number of customers, this can be a great way to identify that content. And you can see this is sorted by latest. And this last post was made 4 minutes ago. So really, really up-to-date content. So that is all of our search and listen tools. That is the basics here. So now I'm going to take a look at our Q&A. Let me go ahead and stop sharing this screen. And I'm going to go ahead and share my deck once again. All right. So let me take a look here if we have any questions. As a reminder, again, we are conducting our annual user survey, so please take a few moments to scan that QR code on the screen or grab a screenshot of this slide for later. We are going to select one respondent to win a $100 gift card for sharing their opinion. So definitely encourage you to do that, not just for the money because you want to help us out, but let's face it, sometimes winning things is nice. All right, so let's take a look at these questions. I see a question, how do I create a group list for Facebook search and listen? So that's a great question. The best way to do that, it's going to be in your account management or managed properties settings, but your account manager, your client success manager can help you out with that. So I would definitely encourage sending an email to support@socialnewsdesk.com. If you're not sure who your client success manager is, we can get you paired up and make sure that you can get that set up. All right, what's the best way to search for multiple locations in one Nextdoor stream? So again, I suggest using that search tool in Nextdoor to drop a pin in an area, or you can search for a particular zip code or neighborhood name, and then use that radius tool to select the mileage around the pin, and you'll get all the cities and counties within that boundary, as well as the neighborhood content. All right. Did I hear correctly that I can set up and share these boards and team members' subsequent adjustments won't affect what I built? Yes, that's correct. So the best way to do that is to create a tab for all of your searches. And once you have those searches set up, go to the 3-dot menu on that tab, click share, and then select the users who need that tab. And so they will get a copy of it, but any changes that they make are not going to happen on your dashboard. So this is a great way to just kind of share something as a starting point, and then they can make modifications from there. All right, how can you rename a stream so they don't all say search and listen? That's a great question. You can double click at the top of any of these streams to enter a new name, and this is a huge help if you have a lot of columns on your dashboard. All right, what if I don't see a first responder in the list? Can I request to add one? Yes, absolutely. This is a database that is managed by Social News Desk. So if you don't see a page in our Publishers by DMA or our First Responders database, send us an email at support@socialnewsdesk.com and include the Facebook URL for that page so that we can add it in. All right. So there's not really a way to see which station overall has the most interactions for the previous day or 12 hours like Crowdtangle has. So yes, you can do that. If you set up you can either use the Publishers by DMA feature to pull up the news organizations in that market, or if you wanted to, search for particular groups of pages, you can use the Facebook page search tool. And again, you can sort that by engagement or by total likes. And you can take that down as little as an hour or as much as 30 days, I believe. All right. Many newsrooms use Crowdtangle to create leader reports that show which talent or post received the most engagement. These reports are emailed out every morning. Can we replicate this with S&D? So at this time, we don't have emailed reports. So this would appear on your dashboard. And again, you can use the group list feature for this. That would be my recommendation to onboard those pages to Social News Desk. And then you can not only just see which has the most engagement, but you can see what's driving the most click-throughs. You can also use Post Manager for the analytics in order to actually pull individual metrics. So, what's getting the most shares, what's getting the most likes, what's getting the most video views, link clicks. So for those onboarded pages, you can actually get much more detailed analytics, even than you were getting with Crowdtangle, because you own those analytics and we're able to pull those in through the API. Is there an option to integrate this info with these lists into Slack? So again, we currently don't have Slack notifications. That is something that we're exploring. I'm glad to hear that you're interested in that. We'll definitely be looking further into Slack notifications related to Search and Listen down the road. All right, do we have a way to see total interactions per page, much like Crowdtangle's percentage of interactions? Yes, so there are a couple of ways you can do that. For your owned pages, again, you can onboard those to Social News Desk, and you can use some of our reporting tools to generate a roll-up report that will show you your total interactions per page, as well as total click-throughs and total video views. You can also use Post Manager to do that for a really granular time period. If you're looking to do this for an entire market, I would recommend using our Facebook scorecard report that you can use to onboard not just your owned pages, but public pages as well. And you will see the share of engagement across those selected pages. All right. Do you have any options for newsroom displays, like on a monitor in the newsroom? So actually, when I worked in the newsroom, I actually just had a computer running Social News Desk with a dashboard open to one of these tabs. And you can open the Search and Listen, and it will update throughout the day. You could also put up your own accounts as well. So I would recommend doing that. We don't have the same live display capability that Crowdtangle has, but we do also, if you are trying to display content maybe for a story, we have a tool called S&D on Air, which I alluded to a little bit in our live demo. So S&D on Air allows you to curate content from your dashboard. So if you're trying to display content about a particular topic or story, we're not going to pull content in automatically, because we want to make sure that any content that's being displayed during a newscast has eyeballs on it first. So, you guys have producers, you should use those producers to make those news judgment calls. We want to make sure that that content is curated by hand, so that you guys have a chance to see everything before it goes into a list automatically. But S&D on Air is a really great tool for on-air display. It can display photos, videos, comments, text, things like that. If you have questions about that, you can email support@socialnewsdesk.com, and we'll be happy to get you more information about on air. Can I do a search and listen next door feed with a radius that doesn't have a keyword? Yes, so that is the spacebar hack. Just pop a space in, and any post that has a space in it is going to come in on that search and listen feed. All right, lots of questions. All right, I see a question. It's not allowing me to enter any info for the Nextdoor search for South Carolina. So if you're having trouble with one of your searches, again, send an email to support. We can get you some help. We may need to get a little bit more information about that to help you offline. Are you adding threads? That is a great question. Yes, we have been an alpha partner with Meta on Threads. So if you're not familiar with our Threads integration, you can onboard your Threads account. We have Threads analytics and Threads scheduling, which you can't do through the native Threads platform. And as soon as Threads search capability is available in the API, we will be adding that to search and listen as well. All right, let's see. Why can't I find my Instagram account? All right, so Instagram search supports business or creator accounts. So if you have an individual non-professional account, you won't be able to see that account in S&D. So that may be why. If you're having trouble finding an account that you know is a business or creator account, let us know and we can investigate that further. Let's see. What if I can't find the Nextdoor agency page for my city or town? So not every municipality has a Nextdoor page yet, but if a page is started, Nextdoor will automatically add that to the database for that service area. Every agency page has a particular service area so that they are able to automatically push content out to their neighbors who live there. So if a page is started, it is automatically going to show up in search and listen. And sometimes you will see a page, but you won't see any content from that page. Some pages post more often than others. So if there's a post that's outside of the time range that you're searching for, you may not see content from that particular page. How can I keep tabs on public X accounts? Great question. I would recommend creating a public list on X and then paste that list URL into the X list search tool in order to monitor content from those accounts. All right. I see anybody in here? Yes, lots of people are in here. Can you elaborate on using S&D to see previous Facebook engagements? Yes, so there are a couple of different ways to do that. So if you have reports set up or if you need help setting up a report, we can definitely help you out with that. The roll-up report is going to allow you to see total engagements as well as engagements for your top 10 posts. And that's broken out not just into total simple engagement, but also into reactions, comments, shares, clicks, video views. So you can see really granular information. The other tool I would recommend using for that is Post Manager, which is going to be one of the tools on the left rail of your screen. You can filter by social account. You can filter by multiple social accounts. And actually, Post Manager allows you to compare engagements on Facebook to engagements on Twitter to engagements on Instagram, etc. We actually have summary columns that are going to roll up the engagement numbers across those different social networks. So you can really compare all of your posts, not just your Facebook posts to one another, but Facebook versus Threads versus Instagram, etc. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. All right. Since Slack isn't an option, are you able to export the feed into RSS, which we can import? That is a good question. I don't think that's something that has been requested before. We can investigate that. We are kind of limited by Facebook's API restrictions for a lot of this, so I won't promise anything, but we will definitely look into that. Is this the best way to monitor on-air team members' social pages? And can we use this to reshare their posts to our main station pages? Yes, absolutely. So whether they've onboarded to Social News Desk or not, you can use the Facebook page search tool to create a column with your on-air team members' social pages. There is a little 3-dot menu on every post that you see there, and you will have the option to share that. This is also a lot easier to do if you have the pages onboarded. Your on-air team members can actually publish to Social News Desk, and they can schedule a share right at the point of publishing, so they can automatically have that post shared to the main station pages. All right. If I share a dashboard and later make changes to that dashboard, will the people I shared it with see those changes? So no, not at this time. If you make changes to a tab on your dashboard, those changes are not going to convey to anyone you've shared it with. So you can reshare the tab at that point if you want. One other trick, if you don't want to completely change your tab up and you want to kind of use it as a base for another group of searches, you can actually share the tab with yourself, which basically just puts another copy of that tab on your dashboard, and then you can change it from there. All right, I think I may have gone through all the questions. Oh, one more question. Is there a trial period available to test everything out? So if you are a Social News Desk customer, you already have access to this tool. This is included with Social News Desk dashboard. So yes, try it out as long as you want. We hope that you enjoy using it. If you have questions about it as you get into the tool, again, send an email to support@socialnewsdesk.com. That email address is also inside the dashboard if you forget, but it's pretty easy to remember. So I encourage you to try it out. If you are not a Social News Desk customer, still send us an email to support. We can definitely talk with our sales team and see if there's a way that we can get you a trial period as well. All right. I think I've gotten through all the questions. You guys had a lot of great questions today. If you think of anything later, again, I will say the email address again, support@socialnewsdesk.com. That's going to go to me and everybody else on our team, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. If there is another question or comment, feel free to send that or take our user survey. There are some spots for suggestions as well. So if there is a search and listen feature that you don't see that you would like to see, take that user survey and send us your feedback. This is a great time to do that because we take that feedback very, very seriously. All right. I'm going to turn you guys loose. Thank you again for your time. I hope that you guys found this really helpful. We did record this, so I will make sure to get this recording out to folks who are not able to attend. Thank you all again for your time today and hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.